Members, item 6 on the order paper, the adjournment. The question is that the Assembly do now adjourn, and in conjunction with the Business Committee, the Speaker has given leave to Joanne Bunting to raise the matter of the proposed closure of the Belfast Metropolitan College Castlereagh campus. I call Joanne Bunting. Joanne, you've up to 15 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I'm delighted to have secured this debate on what is a crucial issue, particularly for, but not restricted to, my constituency of East Belfast. By way of context, towards the end of last year, Belfast Met launched its pre-consultation on the proposed closure of its Castlereagh campus. Castlereagh College, as it's known in our part of the world, is legendary. It has been an institution in more ways than one, and in the best possible sense, for decades, and it would be impossible to overstate its impact on the people of East Belfast and beyond for generations. After such a long and proud history over many decades, it is abhorrent to me that this proposal is under consideration at all. Rationale offered is the degree of investment required to bring the college up to standard. Belfast Met cites that Castlereagh requires £10 million for capital and maintenance works that it simply cannot find. It says the condition and layout are not in accordance with ETI and that it is not a modern teaching environment. Although some, myself included, might suggest an outdated facility may not be ideal, but it is certainly much better than none. The location of Castlereagh College is first-rate. It affords considerable room for expansion, is widely considered to be the easiest of the 4 Belfast Met colleges to access, and has the benefit of free parking. It is now even more profoundly important for our locality and our economy that our people, young and old, have easy access to training and skills, and this campus offers opportunities that the other campuses do not. Naturally then, I rise to express my opposition to this proposal in the strongest possible terms. I consider it to be regressive, discriminatory and short-sighted, and in truth, I am concerned that the consultation was merely a tick-box exercise, going through the motions for an ill-conceived decision that may already have been taken. Thus far, DUP delegations have met with representatives from Belfast Met itself, the unions, students, employees, other interested parties and the Minister. We will oppose this vehemently and at every turn. We will not readily allow our young people to have yet another learning option closed off to them. Moreover, skills are essential to the success and growth of Northern Ireland's economy, and this proposal will result in poor access to education for those who do not and have not engaged well with traditional education, and what from those who advocate an alternative pathway to academia for those who learn in a different way. This proposal would see literally thousands of people have such opportunities denied. Something just does not add up. What is to be gained from this closure? It should be noted that their own 10-year plan, preventative maintenance plan, states that the campus has been maintained to a good standard and that the £10 million cost of maintenance and modernisation is over a 10-year period and is a worst-case scenario. As I understand it, there is insufficient room or capacity to transfer all courses and people to Titanic. In terms of income, it must also be pointed out that Castlereagh campus is the all-island centre of excellence in the field of IT and is still growing exponentially. This proposal, for the sake of £10 million, flies in the face of the Northern Ireland Executive's plans to grow our economy and close the skills gap. It runs entirely contrary to the 10X strategy hailed by key business and educational leaders. We are seeking to move away from the prevalence of and dependence on public sector employment to a better balance with increased employment in the private sector, increased inward investment and increased skills. But with one less college, it is folly. How is our economy to grow when we shut down the very places in which skills are taught? We do not build by contracting these facilities. What message does this send to inward investors Does this look like a Northern Ireland that is open for business and seeking to upskill a workforce for these potential employers? In addition, with this potential closure, Belfast Met will have further stripped this side of the lagoon of educational facilities. East Belfast has already lost Tower Street, Rupert Stanley and Dundonald Government Training Centre, on top of the losses of several secondary schools. And by the way, since its opening, Belfast Met has flagged Titanic as a city centre campus. Now it seeks to rebrand this as its East Belfast location. But forcing people from the east to travel further distances or face a parking charge of £12 per day at Titanic, which is prohibitive for many, could, for some, prevent access to learning altogether. Accessibility is a significant issue. Queen's Road is already notorious for traffic problems in rush hour, and this would be exacerbated by additional numbers of students. Public transport may well be suggested as the solution. However, it has long been recognised that public transportation out with the city centre is not easy. Those familiar with South and East Belfast will know down and in is fine, across, not so much. The glider may well have a dedicated service to Queen's Road and Titanic, but a traveller from the east of the city must reach the Upper Newtonards Road first, and the park and ride into Dundonald is already at capacity. Castlereagh College has the easiest access of all 4 Met colleges and benefits from on-site car parking, a considerable advantage to students and staff alike. When one considers the courses move from Castlereagh to other sites, incidentally some of Belfast Met's most popular courses, it is not a leap to ponder whether Belfast Met has deliberately run down its Castlereagh campus to achieve this outcome. That question is certainly on the lips of many who have spoken to me, since 75% of joinery, all science and plastering have moved to Titanic. Decision makers are well aware of the impact of such measures and proposals, and also of the consequential outworkings on enrolment numbers as a result of the surrounding uncertainty, which can itself lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what message does all this send to young people and parents in East Belfast about the value of education and learning and its prioritisation in the east of the city? What signal does it send about their value and the opportunities afforded to them? In the course of the last 24 years, at least 7 educational reports have been written, each concluding or concerning the educational underattainment of working-class Protestants, and boys in particular. And yet, faced with such facts, Belfast Met is moving to shut down an avenue for such boys to access education locally in their own heartland and in an environment where thousands of boys over many decades have been proven to thrive. On issues around attainment, this would never be allowed to happen in the west of the city. It would not even be countenanced as an option. So why is it permissible for the east? Are those in deprivation in the east to lose another avenue to help them succeed and educate themselves out of it? There are significant numbers of people and areas in East Belfast which feature in indices of deprivation. The closure of places like Castlereagh will adversely and severely impact people's ability to educate themselves out of poverty, and indeed poverty that is multi-generational. Are we to permit further harm to those who are underprivileged? I need not demonstrate the importance of education and indeed pathways other than academia. We all concur. Therefore, we must not stand idly by while opportunities for those who have disengaged with traditional forms of education and who were disenfranchised with education from their time in school are lost. We must not ignore the location of this facility and the demographic in which it is placed. Without question, the people most affected by this closure will be working-class Protestants, including through the loss of the economic benefits gained by the locale from having the facility. Neither Belfast Met nor the department can merely skip over the adverse impact on the PUL community from this proposal, nor would they if it were other areas of the city. I am tired of the imbalance and mentality towards my part of the city, that it will be okay, that it will sustain, that it's fine to be perpetually at the bottom of the pile in Belfast, and that is what the statistics bear out. No, East Belfast can only absorb so much, and we're starting to see the consequences of this attitude. I'm led to believe, though it has not yet been verified, that there were around 1,200 responses to the consultation, with the vast majority expressing the desire for the campus to remain. So what now? What are the next steps? Was there a plan B, or was the plan always closure? If the consultation was not a mere cosmetic exercise, the response was apparently clear. So what does the governing body do now? Once the college is closed, there is no going back. It cannot be undone, and it will be all the more difficult to engage those who felt school didn't work for them and who thrived in a different learning environment. As a result of underfunding, Belfast Met has been forced to consider something radical. But at what long-term cost and damage? It is in the interests of Northern Ireland to allow Castlereagh the opportunity to grow and contribute. People in the East deserve their opportunity to upskill and secure a good job. In conclusion, Castlereagh College has had a long and illustrious history of bringing back to education those who were disenfranchised by it through school. This college has given many young people opportunities because of a different way of learning. If our economy is to grow, the teaching of skills is essential to that growth. And to remove an easily accessible college when there is insufficient space to accommodate those classes in other campuses is appalling, short-sighted, regressive and detrimental to Northern Ireland plc. There is an onus on the department to step up and step in, and for Belfast Met's governing body to rethink and find another way. This campus must not close, and I urge the Minister to intervene and assist. Thank you.
Thank you. All other speakers will now have approximately 7 minutes, and I call Peter McReynolds.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I rise to welcome today's debate on the impact the recently consulted upon closure of the Belfast Metropolitan College Castlereagh campus would have on the immediate area of East Belfast, but also the surrounding areas of Belfast and the local economy. And I do so as an East Belfast MLA, but also a former employee of Belfast Metropolitan College. It's something that I met with surprise when I first received an email from the college in October of last year, and since then I've met with senior management on 2 separate occasions, attended the public consultations, spoken on it in this chamber through a member statement, questioned Minister Murphy twice while he was in post, written to him inviting him to engage with the college, and my constituency colleague Naomi and I submitted our response to the consultation calling for the college to be retained and alternative options explored. Today's adjournment debate, and I thank Ms Bunting for tabling it, is welcome and can play a key part in communicating the importance of the college and the key role that it can play in the local economy if it is supported and looked at differently by the Economy Department and the new Economy Minister. Deputy Speaker, we all know that Northern Ireland is one of the world's leading countries for cybersecurity, with the Castlereagh campus having 2 dedicated specialist cybersecurity labs, and it is a leader in its field here. Moreover, I know from speaking with data scientists that Northern Ireland could be in a unique position to house data here between the USA, UK and EU using our unique status, and this is the crux of my argument. Closure simply does not make sense for us to have a campus closed down that plays a crucial role in shaping and creating the new tech minds of Northern Ireland. For example, the 10X strategy provides a clear strategic focus on good jobs, regional balance, productivity and decarbonisation. In addition, now we have increased clarity post-Brexit. The previous minister himself said that to me in this chamber, saying it helps in making sure not only that those internationally who are interested in potential investment here understand what our position is, and that means north-south, east-west and the dual access that we have. We will need skills to deliver upon that strategy. The goals of the 10X strategy are essential, and the Castlereagh campus plays a crucial role in delivering upon it and creating the minds that are going to deliver for the economy here in Northern Ireland. Aside from the skills that East Belfast would begin to miss out upon, there are passionate staff who care about their students who have been in contact with me, as they have with Ms Bunting as well. I heard this at one of the public consultations last year when teachers spoke out at the slow erosion of classrooms of the college itself over the last number of years, which skew the data the college has presented about how enrolments have been steadily declining over the years. Data which I must say I'm not so sure about, given the particular graph that I and Councillor for the area, Michael Long, were shown compared with the enrolments in the Castlereagh College against all other campuses in Belfast. When we asked to have a clearer breakdown, we were told this data wasn't publicly available. And I know staff share my concerns regarding the accuracy of the information, further compounding the uncertainty and distress in the college at this time and over the last number of months. And lastly, Deputy Speaker, it would be remiss of me not to highlight the scenario that we were in last year. I was a frustrated MLA, and this place lay empty and silent to the concerns being raised by staff and students at the proposed closure. As I've said here multiple times in this chamber, with the energy that we now have in this building, a restored executive, a minister in post, and a watching public who don't expect us to be perfect at all times, but to allow the campus to close without so much as even attempting to intervene would be a real crying shame for my residents in East Belfast and for us as elected members as well. It's why I again call on the new Economy Minister to take interest in the proposed campus closure, take up the offer Naomi and I made on behalf of the college to meet with them earlier this year, hear their concerns and challenges, and what plans for the future that could be realised with government intervention at this time. I appreciate that Minister Murphy was of the view that he would not be able to do that, and it was a campus decision. However, like Ms Bunting, I fear we are sleepwalking into a decision that we will look back on and wonder if more could have been done. I call on Minister Harkey to do all that she can to intervene and engage with senior management as a matter of urgency. Thank you.
Thank you. I now call Andy Allen.
And at the outset, can I thank my constituency colleague for securing this important adjournment debate today. The Castlereagh College is more than just a building. It is a beacon of education, opportunity and community spirit. It is home to a diverse array of courses that cater for a wide range of interests and career aspirations. Looking at Castlereagh campus's own website, they state from science to engineering to motoring mechanics, sport, healthcare, theatre, fashion, media, makeup studios and more. But as has already been alluded to, some of these courses have been moved to other campuses, which skews the data that we've been provided. These courses offered at the Castlereagh campus offer a unique blend of academic and specialist vocational programmes. These courses are not just about imparting knowledge, they're about equipping students with the skills they need to thrive in the modern workforce. The facilities are described on Belfast Met's own website as industry standard. In many cases, it provides students with an environment that mirrors the professional world, whether it's the fully equipped science labs, state-of-the-art engineering workshops, or cutting-edge creative media studios, of which I have had the honour of engaging in recently in a course myself in the Castlereagh campus. These facilities are not just tools for education, they're investments in the future for our community. Indeed, many of the students I've engaged with have not expressed any concern with the facilities on offer. Firstly, it would mean the loss of a critical educational resource for our young people. The campus serves as a vital stepping stone for many students, offering pathways to higher education, apprenticeships and employment. By closing this campus, we would be cutting off these pathways and limiting future prospects for many. It has also been acknowledged and spoken upon by previous members that Belfast Met would struggle to accommodate the courses delivered at the Castlereagh campus within other sites. Moreover, the closure would impact local businesses and industries that rely on the skilled workforces produced. The courses in IT, plumbing, creative media production and other fields are tailored to meet the demands of local employers. These businesses depend on graduates to fill their ranks with capable, trained professionals. The social impact of closing the campus cannot be overstated. Castlereagh campus is more than an educational institution. It is a community hub. It brings together people from diverse backgrounds, fostering a sense of belonging and mutual support. It is a place where lifelong friendships are formed and where students can find mentors and role models. Closing this campus would mean dismantling a vibrant community that contributes significantly to the social fabric of East Belfast and beyond. We must also consider the message that closing the campus would send to our current and future students. It would convey a lack of commitment to their educational and personal development In an era where we should be championing education and lifelong learning, closing what should be a thriving campus is a step in the wrong direction. In conclusion, Deputy Speaker, like other members, I have engaged extensively with Belfast Met senior management, and I too have concerns similar to those that have been conveyed. I've conveyed those concerns, as I'm sure others have done so, as they've alluded to, and that of students, staff, the wider community, unions and many others who have engaged with me and other elected representatives regarding the proposal to close the Castlereagh College. I would urge Belfast Met to reconsider this proposal to close Castlereagh campus, and indeed urge the Minister and the Department to intervene to prevent the closure of this much needed facility. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
And thank you. I call David Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Like my colleagues, I speak today in support of Castlereagh campus, its staff, its students and the local community, all of whom are dismayed by the proposal to close this site. Any such closure would be, as my colleague has said, regressive and a denial of opportunity to the community it serves, but also a strategic error in supplying the workforce required for growing industries in Belfast and Northern Ireland. Castlereagh campus is ideally situated in the heart of working class communities in East Belfast. It plays a vital role in ensuring access of those communities to courses by Belfast Met, equipping them with education and skills for work, encouraging social mobility and equality of opportunity. I know the Minister, not least from our short time together in Belfast City Council, has a strong interest in building up working class communities. Indeed, I know that she is aware of this issue, having attended the consultation at the college with me in past months, and I feel that she will listen to the appeals here today. It is well known that there are long-term issues around educational attainment within Protestant working class communities, particularly among males. A recent study into educational underachievement undertaken by Queen's University in Stranmillis identified the lack of access to local educational provision as a major contributor to underachievement, and the distances to provision serve to reinforce the idea that education is not a priority. Removal of further educational facilities in Castlereagh would only serve to reinforce this negative perspective and further entrench educational underachievement. That the consultation on the potential closure of Castlereagh campus seeks to use lack of diversity as a reason to consider closure is to discriminate against communities in this part of Belfast on the basis that many come from a Protestant working class background. It is a failure to consider that this is a cohort that has repeatedly been identified as requiring greater access and assistance in attaining qualifications and skills. I share others' concern around the lack of engagement, imagination or serious consideration given to alternative options. Along with colleagues, I was exasperated and expressed my frustrations that the college had positive blueprints and visions on their shelf, which were never seriously promoted or driven forward, and as such have had little progress. Furthermore, BMC have raised concerns about the condition of the campus. It is simply not acceptable or an acceptable or valid argument for BMC to use the condition of the building as a reason to move out of an area when they themselves have chosen actively not to invest in the campus. The real shame is that Castlereagh campus is so perfectly located to serve a spectrum of growing new industries and reinvigorated traditional industries in East Belfast. These businesses are ever hungry for skilled workers, and nowhere is better located than Castlereagh to partner with them to serve that need. A world-class advanced manufacturing hub producing highly skilled talent for world-leading and growing local businesses nearby, like Thales, Spirit Aerosystems, Harland Wolff, businesses that we discussed just yesterday in this chamber as we talked about the growing potential of the defence industries here. Indeed, the campus quite uniquely has an aircraft fuselage and the advantage of significant space that other campuses lack to host such facilities which can be utilised to train our future workforce. But it is not just manufacturing. At the opposite end of Montgomery Road from the campus lies Loop Studios, another base for Belfast's relatively young but booming multimedia and creative industries. The campus is already a peerless local centre for cybersecurity, a course thriving at Castlereagh, serving an industry for which Belfast has established itself as one of the global leaders and demonstrating the need for investment, not abandonment. Furthermore, previous proposals at the campus had looked at creating a potential sports hub. This should be looked at again. There is a real potential for growth in this sector. A number of sports clubs in East Belfast are professional, such as Ulster Rugby and Glentoran FC, and many other clubs are looking at similar models. As part of that professional setup, there is an educational element, especially in relation to academies. At the moment, these are catered for through universities in GB, and it would make more sense for local facilities in Castlereagh to be used for courses either directly or tying in with universities. There is wider work that needs to be done by the Department on the role of colleges and of universities. They should not be in direct competition. In the course of meetings with BMC, I had the distinct impression that the college, in a way I fear is not uncommon within the further education sector, has become compliant and subservient to the notions of the dominance of our universities. Our universities are rightly celebrated, but that does not mean our FE colleges should bow to them. With universities veering ever further into courses and foundation levels of education traditionally catered for by FE colleges, doubtless with the aim of reaping financial benefits, BMC seem remarkably resistant to considering anything which might irk or cause a deterioration in relationship with them. I perceive it to be akin to an institutional Stockholm syndrome. The universities continue to steal the FE's lunch money, and colleges all but thank them from the crumbs of their resplendent tables, when colleges would be best placed to offer apprenticeships that are linked to industry need. The abandonment of Castlereagh campus would be both symptomatic and symbolic of continuing and misplaced submissiveness and failure of leadership at all levels to defend the place of BMC from the incursion of universities upon the viability of the entire sector. A decision to leave Castlereagh campus, a Castlereagh campus that is so clearly an asset to facilitate the range of courses and related facilities that could not easily be facilitated at other campuses and would require a new location being sought, would run entirely contrary to logic. It would be a decision to abandon an area with a locality far more ripe with key demographics for further education to target. Any closure of Castlereagh campus will be a denial of educational opportunity and career progression to communities that are all too often left behind. The Minister and BMC have an opportunity to pause and consider alternatives. As an MLA for East Belfast, along with my party colleagues, I am happy to work with the college to find a long-term solution and secure educational provision for the local area. Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker.
And I call Matthew Till.
Mr Deputy Speaker, I'm pleased to be able to speak on this adjournment debate, and I congratulate Joanne Bunting for securing today's debate. It is a vital subject. I don't represent East Belfast, but I do represent South Belfast, which is right next door to the boundary. In fact, it's very close to the boundary of South and East Belfast, or it was until the most recent boundary changes. It is important to say that though Castlereagh College, what was Castlereagh College, now the Castlereagh campus at Belfast Met, historically takes in a significant chunk of its intake from that part of East or South East Belfast. Actually, its intake goes significantly into further than simply that heartland, as it were, into South Belfast and into further afield in parts of Ards and North Down. So it is, and of course throughout other parts of Belfast. So it is a significant contributor to our FE offer in the Greater Belfast area, as has been said. And it is, for a start, highly regrettable that this has been communicated in this way. There are very real concerns among students, staff, unions and others who are key stakeholders that this process has not been handled well, and that is to put it at its most diplomatic. I have engaged, before I engaged with senior management in Belfast Met, I engaged with very concerned staff members, students affected and indeed unions, and there was a genuine shock and sadness at this development and at the approach being taken by Belfast Met. I think it is important to acknowledge that there are real budget constraints on the department and indeed on consequentially on Belfast Met. So I understand that senior leaders in public services are having to take decisions, or at least consider decisions that they would otherwise not take. But it is important that those of us who are public representatives, particularly public representatives for areas like South East Belfast, where there are, as has been said, significant groups who have not done as well as they should be doing in terms of skills and in terms of education, that those people deserve the best possible opportunity. And there is an historic and real tradition at what was, I said, previously known as Castlereagh College, is now the Castlereagh campus of Belfast Met, of those groups getting access not just to traditional whether apprenticeships or traditional trades, though as has been said, some of those trades have left the campus and are now pursued at other parts of other parts of the Belfast Met Estate. Whether that was the right or wrong decision, I think, is debatable, and I think there's a real frustration that some of those specialisms did leave Castlereagh. But there clearly are now, it isn't just more traditional, important though those traditional qualifications are, it isn't just traditional qualifications that are pursued at Belfast Met, but also those cutting edge qualifications, whether it's advanced manufacturing or cyber and tech. And yes, it is important to say, in fact, it will come as a surprise possibly to people who will have had a perception of the Castlereagh campus as a more traditional further education site, that it is such a Ireland leading campus in terms of its tech provision. So it's really vital that at a bare minimum, Belfast Met are obliged, and by extension the Minister and the Department are obliged to give an account of why simply taking all this provision out of South East Belfast is going to improve overall the FE provision in this city, and how it connects to the economic vision the Minister has set out and our broader determination to improve and upskill our economy and to create opportunity, particularly in working class communities, because those are real questions. The people who are either engaged, who are either studying at Belfast Met now, employed there, or involved in that wider community, those are questions they want answered, and I'm afraid they haven't been answered yet. So while I acknowledge that there are real budgetary pressures that face the leaders at Castlereagh campus, and I acknowledge that they are faced with at least having to consider difficult decisions, I do think it's important. The formal consultation period ended in February. I, along with others, obviously responded to it, and corresponded and made our views known. I do think that the bare minimum that can be done is that absolutely every avenue can be pursued to avoid simply the blunt route of closure, and the best possible or the most thorough possible explanation and alternatives given to those who care about further educational provision in that part of South East Belfast. I'm afraid it hasn't been given yet at all, and I think that has really contributed to a real sense of lack of communication and frustration on behalf of people who care about educational provision in that part of Belfast, and not just educational provision, but opportunities and the ability to create a skilled pipeline into some of those businesses, those were leading, in many cases, businesses that David Brooks mentioned earlier. So I look forward to hopefully hearing from the Minister of the Department's position what its view is on the future sustainability of Belfast Met overall, and whether simply closing Castlereagh campus is an unavoidable outcome. I would like to hear if other alternatives have been considered, and if that is the route to be followed, has it been stress tested? Have other alternatives been exhausted? And what is the plan, frankly, for working class communities in particular who had availed of that, and particularly for those courses that aren't simply about actual inclusion is vital, but they're also about producing that skilled pipeline of workers, whether it's into cyber technology or into our creative industries. So, as I say, Mr Deputy Speaker, there is real concern, particularly in that part of Belfast, but I think in the FE sector more broadly about this. So we are keen to hear from the Minister about the Department's view. Thank you very much.
And thank you, and also to all members who have spoken. I now call on the Minister for the Economy to respond.
Yeah, no, thanks very much. And I welcome today's discussion, and thank you to Joanne for bringing this important debate, and for all of the members who have contributed. And I suppose I want to say from the outset, and to be explicit, that no decision has been taken or made with regard to the future of the Belfast Metropolitan College Castlereagh campus. I am acutely aware of the depth of feeling which exists around the future of the campus, and I think there has been a large response in terms of the consultation that has taken place, and I think that it is right that time is taken to assess the responses and for that to be considered in the time ahead. And indeed, as was said by David, I did experience it firsthand when, in my capacity as an MLA in South Belfast, similar to Matthew, I did attend the public engagement event back in February, and I actually still have the notes that I took from that event back then, and listened at first hand. Some of the students who were there that night, it wasn't a student event, I know there were other events, but particularly from the trade unions, from the staff, the 167 staff that are working at the site, also ex-staff, and I think that said something really about the campus, that they still feel that connection, and again, importantly, the community that reside in and around the campus as well. And I suppose just to touch on a note, I mean, by way of the campus and the impact. Of course, locality is important in terms of where these things are geographically based. But we know that 24.5% of the learners come from East Belfast. There's a huge cohort, as was said, come from beyond East Belfast. And of course, that's a testament to the campus. And also going forward, it also shows the potential, even within the locality of East Belfast, that more potentially could be done when you look at the numbers there. I think at those engagements, and since then, obviously concerns have been raised in terms of the heightening of educational attainment gaps to the potential loss of local economic growth if the closure was a selected option. It is evident that the local community, staff, past and present, and those who attended the college do feel strongly that the campus should be retained. And indeed, I'm aware that a considerable number of consultation responses have been received, including many from within this chamber as well. And again, I welcome that, and as I said, we do want to take the time. I know the campus and the college are looking at that, and obviously I will want to look at that as Minister also. I think it's also a testament to the contribution of the institution on the lives of people, not only in terms of education, but also in terms of economic and social links of the campus, which has been touched on in the contributions here today as well. And equally, it is right that Belfast Metropolitan College takes the appropriate steps to understand the long-term viability of this campus, including looking at is there an ambition to invest in this site, and that is something that I will want to look at very closely. The Belfast Met's criteria includes important elements including health and safety, increasing sustainability targets, and the need to deliver a meaningful modern curriculum for learners from state-of-the-art facilities in line with the current emerging industry needs. And as Conor Murphy set out when he delivered his economic vision here a number of weeks ago, skills are a key enabler of driving good jobs, increasing productivity, and also in delivering regional balance and decarbonising our economy. Conor's vision statement explicitly referenced the importance of colleges and the need to grow college numbers. The significant uplift in lecturers' pay represents the first important step towards this goal, and Belfast Met's consultation criteria for the campus includes investing in the Castlereagh campus to address structural issues, to review curriculum delivery, and also to increase student numbers. And as a result, full consideration should be given to investigating all possible options in the future going forward. This includes exploring alternative uses for the campus, consolidation or restructuring possibilities, and the need to be mindful of the legal and financial implications. I am encouraged to see that the Belfast Met are taking proper time to understand all the potential impacts and inputs to the important consultation process, and I suppose that is reflected in the numbers that had come forward. And when the full proper consideration has been given to the issue, the college will share its findings and proposals with the department for a decision to be made. The department will ensure that all key concerns have been taken into account in the decision-making process. It will also ensure that all risks and opportunities are thoroughly evidenced and considered as part of any decision on the future of the campus. And I'm aware that the previous Minister, Conor Murphy, has already met with a variety of representatives, including the local MP for the area and also the trade unions that have been involved in the ongoing discussions and consultations as well, with an interest in the campus, and he's tasked officials within the department to ensure that any future proposal is robustly assessed. And again, I've been meeting with officials on the back of that as well, even on the back of the notes that I have taken, to make sure that we are robustly looking at these issues when they come forward from the Belfast Met. In relation to the ongoing provision of services at Castlereagh, I can confirm that the college has advised it fully intends to continue its standard curriculum delivery in this year of 2024-25. I'm also aware that speculation had been building on the issue of closure due to minor adjustments to service delivery and the renewal of contracts. I have been assured by the college that these are standard changes and in no way signal the decision to run down the campus. And I know it was also an issue in terms of contracts around catering. That was one of the issues that were raised in February of this year. And again, I've also received assurances that those contracts will continue to run into the next year, and I know some of that was clarified on the night of the meeting. I do obviously want to thank Belfast Met for its continued engagement and to all of those who have offered their views on the future of this much valued institution. And on my part, I'm committed to ensuring that our further education system is fit for the future, is accessible to all, and importantly is a key contributor to the economic vision that Conor set out around good jobs, productivity, decarbonisation and regional balance. And as I say, we want to robustly look at all of these issues around the ambition of the Castlereagh campus. When you look at areas like IT, engineers, the creative industries, all growth sectors for the economy going forward. And as I say, the important issue of locality, it is incredibly important, and that is something that we want to pay particular attention to as well. So again, I just want to thank the member for bringing this important discussion, and I do look forward to continuing the engagement with key stakeholders in the time ahead, and particularly when I receive the information from the college, and that we will look at that robustly in the time ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for that response. The Assembly is adjourned.
Assembly Chamber. Sound. Assembly Chamber. Sound. Assembly Chamber. Sound. Assembly Chamber. Sound. Assembly Chamber. Sound.